What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Guys at Magic. This is part 2 of our Legendary Creature set review, specifically for the multicolored creatures. I think this is part like 5 in total because there were a ton for us to go over.
This is
My
part
name is
4.
part 4. I don't know how to count, so I'm. This is Dave. Also joining us for this video, we have Hunter
Yo.
and we have Shane.
Hi.
There we go. That's the spirit. A little bit more optimistic this time. All right, so we're going to be talking about the remaining legendary creatures from the set. This first one that we're going to be talking about is Minsc, Beloved Ranger. He is a red, a green, and a white for a legendary creature human ranger. It's a mythic 3/3. It says whenever it enters the battlefield, create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. He also has pay X. Until end of turn, target creature you control has base power and toughness XX and becomes a giant, in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. Hunter, I know that you're going to love this card. This just screams something that you would play, so you start us off.
Well, when it comes to color pairings, I love these three together. So immediately it caught my eye. So I actually don't know the lore behind making Boo a giant. I don't know if that is part of the lore. I assume that it is because it's written on the card. But whenever you cast this, you get 2 creatures, one of which has trample and haste. And if it's late game, you can really pump that X up and do some serious damage with the hamster right away. So I think it's pretty cool. Is it my favorite commander? No. But overall, cool card. I could dig it.
It's a lot less enthusiastic than what I was expecting.
I'll do it for you. This card's fucking nuts, dude. Going back to the last video, David. This one, however, does have a colon. This is a mana sink. We could do this for a fuck ton, like Hunter said. It doesn't get it till end of turn, which is amazing, so it stays forever. That's relevant. I think this is a sleeper a little bit. I don't think you're maybe thinking about, again, just pumping another creature. It doesn't have to be Boo. It could be any creature you pump. You can pump a bunch of creatures. There's a lot of utility with this, I think, dude. Just making creatures bigger than your opponents and winning that way, the good old-fashioned way. Turning shit sideways.
Well, I would like to rebuttal real quick to what you just said, because you're not pumping anything. You're changing the power and toughness.
That's kind of pumping.
No, it's not. And I want to make a special note of that. If you have a 5/5 and you pay 4, you made your 5/5 a 4/4, so you shrink
Well, you wouldn't do that. Come on.
That's why it's good on Boo.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's good on Boo, but can't you just play a bunch of little things then, and
True.
quote
You could
unquote
do that.
not buff them? I think it's still good.
I do think that that's exactly what you do. You play this with what is that Corvold that came out in Commander Legends, like the 0 mana 0/1 that has 3 different abilities on it. Pretty sure Trample was one of them. But you pump those itty bitty little creatures, and you do get to swing in with them. I'm not a fan of decks that have to win typically through combat damage and don't really do a whole lot other than that. And I am really not a fan of decks that do that and don't really do it all that well with the commander. So, I mean, you can pump the commander, or you can change the commander's power and toughness because he can target himself. It's still, this is a mana sink, and it's not a mana sink that directly pumps. It's a mana sink that just kind of alters. So you typically have to invest a ton. Also, the activate only as a sorcery means that you're not using this as a combat trick. Your opponent knows when they need to block and when they don't have to.
Fine. Yo, man, I'm not saying this is going to be a flashy win in a turn. This is just down and dirty, fucking fair magic, baby. Well, David hates doing.
I don't like fair magic. I don't like the fact that you have to spend your turn making your creature into something with decent stats for this to do anything, because that means then that you don't have mana up to interact with your opponents, to cast spells, to do anything else. It's like, if you want to be playing with this, you need a shit ton of mana, and it's all just going to Minsc. So I'm not a fan here.
You don't like it. I mean, it'd be cool to build like a giant tribal deck. That'd be interesting.
I feel like you'd have to pump a lot of your creatures by a pretty significant margin then, because most giants are big.
Well, that's true. But you're making a giant with the hamster.
I don't know.
What if cards are relevant with the giant text, dude? So now you got a fucking army of giants that buff each other somehow still. Come on, man. Open your mind. Open your
Mind.
third eye. Let the light flow in, baby.
So you say that, and there is like a hidden mode on this card, one that we haven't talked about yet, and that's the fact that you can choose to pay 0, and you can give a creature power and toughness 0/0.
Make it a giant.
No, it'll just kill it because it no longer has
Oh.
any power.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, I guess actually technically yes, it does become a giant, and then it just becomes dead. So my thought on that being is, I mean, this is a free sack outlet for Naya, which there are some shenanigans that you can do with that, which I
Thinking
think
about that
could be
too.
cool.
Yep. I totally thought about that. 100% didn't see that one. I mean, I definitely saw that one, dude. Yep.
All right, well, Shane already has his third eye opened.
Dude, it's
Well,
fucking. Ooh.
I'm gonna go back to that giant theme again, because I was trying to remember the name of the card. But like Calamity Bear, you throw Calamity Bear in here. If a giant source you would control deal damage to a permanent, deals double. That'd be pretty
Boom.
cool.
Why not
Lawyered.
play like any? Why play that over one of the like red mana doublers or mana or not? Sorry, not mana doublers, but like damage doublers or damage triplers for that matter.
Because giants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
then
know,
even
man.
you're I don't know. I don't like tribal either, so we're going just down this rabbit hole of things that I hate.
All
All
right.
right, we get it, dude. You're biased. Next.
What's your grade?
I'm gonna give this thing a D. I was gonna give it a C, but I hate rodents. I didn't like squirrels with Modern Horizons 2. Sorry, Boo. I don't like Boo. I'm giving it a D.
You know what I'm gonna
Man,
get David for his birthday?
you really could have rhymed with "Sorry, Boo, I don't like you." I was
I was
really hoping that you were, but you
I was
didn't.
going to, and then I intentionally stopped myself.
We should get David a hamster for his birthday.
Maybe. Well, I'm
Yeah.
giving it a C.
Yeah, I'm giving it a C.
That's
All
an
right.
average of a C, man.
Let's move on and disagree on some more cards. Next up, we have Orcus, Prince of Undeath. Orcus, Prince of Undeath is X2, a black, and a red for a weird converted mana cost. Or, I'm sorry, weird mana value. He's a legendary creature demon. It's a 5/3, and it has flying and trample. It says whenever it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Each other creature gets -X until end of turn, and you lose X life. Or return up to X target creature cards with total mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. Shane, I would love for you to start with this one.
You know what I'm gonna say. That I am not the biggest fan. And then I got talked into it. So now I think it's pretty good. I think the first part is a decent board wipe. That's pretty good. So it's board wipe on a stick, right? So you always have access to it, which is good. You get hurt for it, whatever. The bottom part we talked about it's cool, but what realistically are you going to bring back because you need to pay for all of it? So like how are you playing this creature turn 4 for just the 5/3 body first? Like, is that what's happening? And then it dies, and then you have to pay for commander tax plus X, blah 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 blah. It's gonna build up, dude.
That's kind of what I said. I've
Which part? Which part?
never really been a fan of commanders with X in the mana cost because it just seems a little too out of reach late game if your commanders died multiple times to keep casting it with additional commander tax. It just gets out of hand too quickly. And I know there's ways to make them infinite mana or whatever, but
I was gonna say the X is like you don't have to pay for the X, right? That's the only thing that's got going for it, I think.
Yeah, but I mean,
And it's
that's
a flying
the whole
trample.
point. That's the whole point of the card, though.
Yeah, but
It's
a
got
4 mana 5/3 trampler flyer, dude, pretty good.
I mean, you'd
Not
love big
good enough for
smashy
a
things.
commander.
You'd love big smashy things, Hunter. I mean, there's like that is an amazing rate.
No, I highly disagree of making just a commander a flying trampler. It needs to do more.
Well, he does. You have to pay for it.
That's what I'm saying. You said the X doesn't matter, though.
Well, I said it doesn't have to matter. Like there are times you can just pay for the regular cost.
All right, David, go ahead.
I think this card is stupidly good, and that's why I wanted to lead with you guys, because I knew that we were going to disagree here. I look at it like this. It's a 4-mana 5/3 with flying and trample, and I literally don't care about any of that. I'm going to cast this for its second mode, that return up to X target creature cards with total mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste until end of turn. Specifically, what I'm doing is I am using cards that either self-mill, or I can go and like bury it alive and grab creatures that are combo pieces to go throw them into my graveyard, and then drop this guy as a recursion piece to grab all those creatures and then just win the game on the spot. So,
Yeah.
for example, something like Metallic Mimic, Vizier Seer, and Murderous Redcap, and it actually doesn't even need to be Vizier Seer, it's just any kind of sack outlet, and you just win the game. You just nuke your opponent's life totals with that.
Yeah, see, this is where you always do this shit where you find some kind of infinite thing. It's
Hey,
good.
I look at this and I think this is a commander that can be pretty easily abused and broken. Yes, it still potentially could require a lot of mana. However, I'm not going to worry about commander attacks because I'm going to cast this with the intention of winning the game the turn that I cast it. So I don't really care what happens to it past that point. And even at that, I mean, if I'm playing combo centric, if I'm trying to kill you guys with these kinds of creatures, with these kinds of loops, he's my backup plan in that in the case my other recursion doesn't happen, I've got just an extra piece in the command zone that I can drop whenever I need to.
I like fair magic.
One of my least favorite things about Magic, I think, is the combat step.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
sounds about right. So, with all that, David, what are you giving this?
I'm going to give it a B just because I feel like it is still kind of difficult for you to be able to assemble those combos. And if shit does hit the fan, yes, he does get expensive. You can potentially try to reload some of these combos, assuming that your opponents aren't exiling at your graveyard, which, in all honesty, they probably should be trying to do that. So
Yeah,
I don't think he's an A. I do think he's a B, and I think it's a cool card, if not a little gimmicky.
that's why I'm giving it a C. It's average.
I'm gonna give it a B for all the wrong reasons, not for David's fucking combo kill. Just it's a cool card. And I would play it as my commander.
So the average is a B.
All right, not bad. Moving on, we have Shessra, Death's Whisper. It is 2, a black and a green for a legendary creature, human, elf, warlock. It's a 1/3 with Bewitching Whispers. It says whenever she enters the battlefield, target creature blocks this turn if able. She also has Whispers of the Grave, which is an ability that states at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. Hunter, you want to start off with this card?
Yeah. I think. I wrote a lot of new cards have some synergy with this card, which would make it pretty cool. Like all the pests cards from Strixhaven with Professor Onyx that also can make pests and find you card draw and all that stuff. So whenever you lose those pests, you gain life, and then you can use that life you gain to also draw cards by paying 2 life. I think it's pretty cool. But at your end step is the only issue. I feel like if it would have been like a cost instead of just specifically this only triggers at your end step, that would be pretty dope. I think this card could be way better than it is. But I like the name Shessra because it sounds like a whisper.
What the fuck?
Isn't that cool? Shish.
I don't like that. I can't say that. I feel like I have a lisp. Shessra.
Shessra.
Watch it be like Shessra or something like that,
Yeah,
where you're
something
just like screwing
stupid.
this up.
Sheesh. All right, Shane, what do you think?
I think this card is uncommon, and that it shows that it's uncommon. The fact that like I saw your little notes triggers once. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking, oh yeah, this is good. You can just keep re-triggering. And they're like, no, you can't. I don't think this is a very good commander like at all. It's like definitely a card you would see in a list, maybe.
I completely agree with you guys on this one. I don't care about her first ability of forcing a creature to block. That's I don't know. Unless I'm swinging in with like a creature with Death Touch or something, or if I know that I'm just gonna kill one of my opponent's creatures, I don't care. And then the second ability only being able to trigger on your end step is really rough.
Yep.
Doesn't do enough, dude, at all.
Yeah, if this wasn't limited, if this was just like during anybody's turn, this might be much more powerful than what it is. But like, it's just as is. I'm not a fan.
Or like, dude, Bewitching Whisper, if that triggered when you enter combat, like the combat step, that'd be fucking lit. This card would be like a gnarly card.
It probably wouldn't be uncommon.
It would definitely not be uncommon. But like that ability, I want to happen more than once to make it a commander. Like, unless I don't know, it's got if it's a one and done commander, it's got to be some big fucking payoff. Like David figuring out a way to break it and you win the game that turn you play it. Like you're not winning the game, you play it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like even the first ability though, of like target creature blocks this turn of Fable, if you attack with two creatures, they still get to choose which one they're going to block. So it's like it's a forced block, but it still gives like some options, and then like they can still double block. They can still triple block if they want to. So you're not even guaranteed that like you're really attacking and like your creature is going to survive.
That's why something I didn't mention, but you mentioned the Death Touch. Death Touch creatures would be pretty good in this deck.
I feel like you can just build, dude. It could be like the Death Touch poison dude you have. Build an entire deck of Death Touch with this. Yeah.
Finn the Fang Bear. Yeah.
But that's saying that if this Bewitching Whisper happened more than once, but it doesn't.
That's also making a very strong assumption that you need to have like a secondary commander for your deck to work, which
no, I didn't mean it like that.
It's totally possible. It's just that's going to be tough.
I just meant the fact that like that deck has a bunch of Death Touchers. You can just take all those Death Touchers.
It could be an alternate win condition.
Yeah.
But I also want to point out that this might be my favorite art of the whole set.
I do actually agree.
This is so sick.
Dude, you found a waifu.
Is my favorite. I'm giving this commander a C.
I'm gonna give it a D.
I'm gonna give it a D as well. Although I do agree with Hunter, the artwork on this is absolutely fantastic.
I'm gonna give her the D, dude.
Oh boy, that average is a D.
I had to do it, dude. I'm sorry.
Next up, we have Targnar, Demon-Fang Gnoll. He is a red and a green legendary creature Gnoll. He's a 2/2 with pack tactics. It says whenever he attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater, this combat attacking creature gets +1/+0. I'm sorry, attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn. You can also pay 2, a red, and a green to double his power and toughness until end of turn. Who wants to start on this one?
I'll take it. Because I love Gruul. This is another 2-mana starter, which is cool. By starter, I mean like it only costs 2 mana to get out, and you might be the first creature that you play as your commander. That's always really cool. However, Gruul always just wants to beat face, and that is exactly what this card is. It's no different. It is an uncommon Gruul beat face card, and it doesn't do much more than that. So, I think it's pretty average.
I think pack tactic is pretty nuts. It's a bear with an upside. That's pretty good. 6 or more. I mean, that's pretty doable. That could be doable to like a turn or two after you play him. Like I saw David mention, like there's a bunch of pumps. I know that they're combat tricks, but they're still pumps. You could double, dude. The doubling is a colon, so you can do it a lot. That's pretty fucking relevant. I don't know. I think it's relevant. It's an uncommon that's relevant.
I'm not super sold on this. as we've already mentioned, I don't like big stuff. I don't like big, dumb, smashy creatures. This has no evasion. It doesn't have trample, which I feel like would do this card wonders. Being able to double its power and toughness is really cool. It goes from a 2/2 to a 4/4, and then if you can do it again, it'll go to an 8/8. Which even at that, honestly, I'm not super impressed. I feel like in order for me to like really start to be worried about this, you have to be able to trip or to double it at least 3 times. You can pump it with other effects, so things like giant growth. I mean, there's a ton of these kinds of options in red and in green. I don't know. Maybe you can play. What is the name of that card? It's like a 6 mana enchantment, like colossal something something. It's from Ikoria, and it has a picture of a cat on it, where it makes it power and toughness 2020 until end of turn, or I'm sorry,
Oh yeah,
2020.
dude. Yeah, yeah,
Where
yeah.
it's just like, yeah, you make this thing just absurdly large, and then your
And then
opponents
double
are
it.
just screwed.
Yeah, dude.
I
And then
did think that
sorry.
like it desperately needs trample.
Yeah, but so you could do what you just said you could did, and for some unknown reason your opponent goes like, "Whatever, I'm not blocking it," and then you can respond to that by doubling it. Like I think that's pretty good, right? You obviously would do it. Not a combat trick because I can see it coming, but like you would just do it when no blocks are assigned, and boom, I'm gonna fuck you.
Yeah, but like his first ability, pumping your team whenever it attacks with like 6 power or greater, whenever your board is attacking with 6 or more power, I feel like it kind of incentivizes you to use his ability before you attack. That way you can like guarantee it. And I know that, yeah, sure, later on in the game you probably do have more than 6 power of creatures in your deck, so maybe it's not as relevant as what I'm making it out to be.
Yeah, maybe, dude.
I don't know. What is a Gnoll, by the way? Do you guys know? Because this looks like some giant hyena-looking bear thing.
No,
It's a Gnoll, dude.
All right, it is a Gnoll. A Gnoll is a Gnoll, boys.
A
is it
Gnoll is
null or null?
it's a humanoid race that resembles human hyena hybrids.
Oh my goodness, you Googled this.
Chimeras,
You are the
dude.
best.
Holy shit.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's move on to grades with this one, Hunter. I'm not sure if you had already mentioned yours.
I'm giving it a C. It's very average.
I'll give it a C.
And I'm going to give it a C as well. 3 C's make a C. Next up, we have the big dragon itself. We have Tiamat, which is 2, a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green for a legendary creature dragon god. This thing is a 7/7 with flying, and it states that whenever it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle.
Whoa.
Shane, I feel like you are kind of the resident dragon player and that you have multiple dragon tribal decks. What are your thoughts on this guy?
This card's pretty nuts, dude. Like, yep. So not only I think okay, hold on. I gotta gather my thoughts because they're spinning. The 5 color, that's relevant. People would play that just to have access to 5 colors. Like that's sick. The fact that you can search up 5 different dragons, that's super, super relevant. Like I don't know this is really crazy, dude.
But Shane, all 5 of those dragons have to have different names.
Oh, I can name so many dragons, dude.
Yeah,
Dragon 1, Dragon 2.
I think it's because in EDH, all your cards have to have different names.
Bingo.
Yeah, that part
Bada
is just
bing,
literally
bada
flavor
boom.
text on this card.
That card's nuts, dude.
All right, I'm
So-
sold. This card is nuts. Hunter, what do you think?
I said I don't like it, even though it's good. It pains me to say this because 5 color is never broken in Commander,
Ever.
right?
Ever.
Never. But you still have to pay for all the stuff that you do throw in your hand, and this is only on cast.
Yep. That's true.
So
But-
it's not like you can bounce it.
This is relevant, Hunter.
All right,
Go ahead, Dave.
I think this card is nuts.
It's super nuts.
It is stupidly powerful. So you can kind of go in 2 different directions. You can go like the traditional dragon tribal, in which case it's an expensive big beater
That's
that
me.
restocks your hand with
Yep.
other big beaters. So
Yep.
like at a bare minimum, you have this plus 5 other huge threats that you're now going to have to deal with. I get that you still have to pay for those other threats, but they're coming. My other thought on this being is I don't want to build this in a nice way. I want to build this in a way that's kind of mean and aggressive. And my mind immediately goes to how can I break this with like food chain? And it's very easy to break this with food chain, where you cast Tiamat, you use its ability, you go search for 5 other dragons, and one of those that you grab is actually a Morophon the Boundless, which is a shapeshifter, which counts as a dragon, and it reduces the cost of all of your spells by a white, blue, black, red, and green of that creature type, in which case it's going to be dragon. So, like, all of your spells just cost, or all of your creatures just cost Wooburg less, which essentially means, like, anything that you just grabbed in your hand, you can cast for free, let alone the fact that, like I'm mentioning in the food chain combo here, so you have infinite mana for creatures anyways, you're going to win the game on the spot. And with you having access to all 5 colors, it means that you can tutor incredibly efficiently. You can protect this. You have access to literally just the best cards in Magic. So this card is absolutely nuts.
I want to say I've never heard the Wooburg thing, and now I can't get it out of my head.
You've
You
never
have been
heard that?
playing this game for how long, and you've never heard that?
Like 15 years. I don't know, dude. That's. I'm stupid, apparently.
Nah. You're good. All in all, though, going on to grades for this, I'm going to give this an A. Just because even at this card's like worse, it does some serious work.
Super duper.
Super duper.
I'm giving it a B. Just because, despite you.
Does this fight me?
I'm giving this a hot A, dude. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
Hunter, I get spited, I do it all the time. This is a hot A, dude.
Is it the best dragon in EDH?
I mean, there's the Euro Dragon that's good. There's like, and the Euro Dragon is 5 color, I want to say as well.
It
but
is.
It is.
Yeah.
It doesn't search 5 other fucking dragons for you, dude. Like, this is nuts.
I mean, it can.
But only if you cast it. That's the
So,
downfall I have on this card.
dude, if this is your commander, like,
I understand that.
yeah. I don't know of a single way for you to be able to get a card from the command zone into the graveyard or into exile or into any other place aside from being able to cast this thing like at least once.
Yeah.
And you're playing blue. You're already playing a 5-color deck, so like realistically speaking, you've already dumped a shit ton of money into this deck just to make the mana base work. You're playing the best counter spells in the game in order to protect this thing. So you're going to have access to Pact of Negation. You're going to have access to Force of Will. You're going to have access to all of those wonderful good cards to make sure that this hits the battlefield.
Yeah. Well, the average is an A. Okay.
Average is an
average
A.
is still an A, even though whatever.
Alrighty, next up we have Trelasarra, Moon Dancer. Trelasarra, something. It is a green and a white for a legendary creature elf cleric. It's a 2/2 with whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on it and scry 1. Interesting little take on like an Ajani's Pridemate. Who wants to start us off here?
It doesn't say on it. It says on her. You hear what I'm saying?
I just didn't want to read the name twice.
Okay. You can call her Moon Dancer. She's a little dancer, dude.
She dances with the moon. Look at her.
I don't really have strong things to say about this. I'll let one of you guys talk.
Hunter, you start then.
I think green-white life gain is a different direction than what EDH normally sees because most of the time it's black-white. So that's kind of cool. There's a ton of life gain tricks that can really help scry through the deck and look for combo pieces. I think the scry one is way better than the adding counters on just this one creature. So that's where I see it. It's anytime you gain life, you scry. That's where I'm looking at, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, I view this the same way. Shane, if you want to go with it.
No, I just wanted to say I wanted to ask you a question because you don't like big beaters, but like it's going to probably become a big beater, right? Unless you're only caring about scrying.
I really
I don't-
care about that scry.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the scry. I think is way more important than just making it big. Like at that point, it doesn't matter because unless you give it trample, which in green you can definitely do. But yeah, I think it's cool. You're just looking for the combo pieces by scrying whenever you
Yep.
gain life.
Yeah,
Yeah, David,
that's
tell me.
exactly what I'm looking at here too. I'm looking at like the Heliod and then Walking Ballista combo, and then anytime that you gain life, you're digging for your combo pieces. So I don't really care about how big this creature is going to get. I'm actually not anticipating she's going to get big enough to like legitimately be a threat. And if the game does end up running slow, where maybe she does have a lot of counters on her, then maybe like Plan B at absolute I don't know. Plan B is you can just send her sideways and swing at somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so you're saying that you would put a already established package in her and just care about the scry?
Primarily, yes,
So you don't
because
really give a
she.
fuck about her.
I mean, I care the fact that like there are so many different options out there for ways for you to be able to gain life in both green and in white that you should be able to pretty reliably hit that scry trigger at least 3 times a turn. Which that means, I mean, you're churning through your deck quickly.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It just doesn't. It seems like I know that it does a lot. It sounds like it does a lot, but like it seems boring because you already have an established thing in the deck that you're just using the scry to get to. So that she's not really. I mean, it sounds weird because she is the thing doing it for you, obviously, scrying. But
I get it.
then again, she's not.
It's just like she's not an important piece of like
Yeah,
combo finish.
it's like insert card here kind of thing.
Yes.
Well, that's fine then.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, I think she's really dope. I really like the direction. That's a bit different. Something WotC doesn't normally do, as we've seen with the other like Gruul, just big beater, Boros, equipment, just same shit. But this one is actually different.
I don't know how much I want to stress different here because green has been able to gain life for a very long time, and white has pretty much it always has been able to gain white. So I don't know if I want to stress different on this. I'm gonna stress that like it's not a token producer, so I mean at least it's kind
I'm
of
for that.
slightly breaking out of
Historically, they're tokens, right?
yeah.
I think it's a different for EDH.
I'll give it a C though for me, dude.
I'll stress that. I'm giving it a B.
I am also gonna give this thing a B. I think it's a pretty good card.
That average is a B.
All right, next up, moving on to one of the most unique legendary creatures from this set, we have Volo, Guide to Monsters. He is 2, a green and a blue for a legendary creature human wizard. He's a 3/2, and it says whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control, or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. And I had to realize that I was like, wait, Guide to Monsters, like what in the world's going on here? Because in the artwork it has monsters' heads like on the mantelpiece, and I thought originally I was thinking like he's a guide or like maybe a friend for the monsters, and I thought no, he's a guide to the monsters. So like
Dude,
this
he's
is where,
killing them.
yeah, yeah, this is the guy leading the hunting expedition.
Bingo.
I
It's
don't
got
know
the
how much
whole.
we have to say about this though, dude. This card's nuts.
Tell us why.
Dude, like you just get copies of your creatures. Like what? That- I mean, am I wrong there? Am I not reading this card right?
No,
No,
you're right.
you're reading it right.
And and it doesn't care about the legend rule, right? Or it
Oh,
does.
it does.
It does, yeah.
Well, even without the legend rule, dude, just imagine getting like, dude, you my head's spinning to have so many activities, dude. Like this card's good.
I think this card is fantastic. I think it's really cool because I mean, if you build this as your commander, you're gonna make sure that you aren't sharing creature types. So every creature in your deck is just gonna create a token.
That's so lit, dude.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Token,
really cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wrote that it would be really fun to try and just build a completely non-tribal deck. Like just really focus on going on tribal, and then maybe even if you have creatures that are like the same and they do die and they're in the graveyard, get some stuff to get them out of your graveyard.
Nah, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just like I'm 100% playing unique creature types in this. So sadly, no shapeshifters, no clones, no none of that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's dope. I don't know how much I can say about it. I can see this deck being kind of ridiculous.
So what are the grades, boys?
I want to actually build this deck. Also, it's in the colors that I love. Dude, you can get some fucking sick ass cards in those colors. I'm gonna give this a B.
I'm
David?
gonna I'm gonna give it a B as well. It presents a huge amount of value. I don't think this is a commander that you have to like kill on sight, but if you let this thing sit, it's just value engine is gonna take over the game.
Dude, think about it. Even the little cards you play, dude, like you go wide as fuck with this deck.
You can go wide, you can go big, you double up any of your ETBs and like
Yeah. Oh fuck, dude. I didn't think about that. This card's getting better by the minute, dude.
I'm still giving it a C.
Bro, I almost want to give this an A. Holy fuck, this card's sick.
I think we just broke Shane.
For reals, like I want to build 2 different decks now. I'm
You
gonna have
just
my
love-
Centriplets and I'm gonna have this, dude.
Well, speaking of send triplets,
Yeah.
Speaking of
Oh,
move on to
what
the-
a fucking yes.
all right. Next up, we have not centriplets. This is Xanathar Guild Kingpin. He is 4 a blue and a black for a legendary creature beholder. It's 5/6, and it states at the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. Until end of turn, that player can't cast spells. You may look at the top card of their library anytime. You may play the top card of their library, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast spells this way. Shane, I'm going to have you start because this is. I don't even know if I can think of a card that is more up your alley than this.
See, I like how we were talking about it earlier, and we talked about it being a like a lesser version of Centriplets, which of course it is. It doesn't do anywhere near what that card does. But this card still seems bonkers. You can just take it, so it's not so much what's in your deck, it's what's in their deck. So I'm gonna fill my deck with like removal, counters, and kills, and maybe some creatures, obviously. And then I'm just gonna play your fucking guys' deck. Like that's sick. Super sick.
yeah.
And you can't get spells? What the fuck? Like, dude, I keep reading it and things keep popping out at me.
I mean, it is send triplets. That's what send triplets does. Except you send triplets is from the hand.
True. Well, yeah, that's way more punishing.
That's
Yeah.
why I wrote it's just a less mean version of send triplets. I think like Watsy knows, like, hey, send triplets is pretty annoying at some tables. We'll make something similar and not as powerful. So we also got rid of the white aspect too,
That's true.
but it's
It got
still
neutered.
mean. It's definitely a neutered send triplets.
And
I
I like
don't-
how one more thing. Before even looking at anything, I was like, that motherfucker's Jabba the Hutt. And then Hunter's like, funny you say that. He showed me a picture of something that made a Jabba artwork for it. It was perfect. Like
Yeah.
this card's awesome.
Hi.
David, this card's an A. I don't give a fuck what you say next.
Oh boy, I'm gonna let you down gently. This card is shit.
Uh-huh. I
All
wasn't
right.
gentle. I was a fuck. Okay.
There's only okay. Can I say one more thing before you jump into it?
Go for it.
There's only one card you can play, and it's just the top of their deck. It's not that good, Jay.
Wait a minute.
Right. Expand on what you just said.
Yeah,
'cause
wait a minute.
this-
Try again.
You can
If you
only
play the first card, you play the second card, you play the third card. You can keep going, bro.
Oh yeah. Just play. I didn't even. Okay. Go ahead, David.
I think this card is awful.
Wait, one more
So-
thing, David. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my
I'm
goodness.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm just gonna sit the review out for this card.
Go.
Okay, this is 6 mana, so it's kind of expensive, which means your opponents have already like established a board presence here. My thought is that at this point, probably have some draw engines in here as well, so like you're not locking them down. So you're not gonna do like I don't know, you could take this in a direction of like trying to be like Lantern Control and using things like Millstone to where you're manipulating the top cards of their library, but I don't think that's happening. Also, you're being a bully in this sense in that you're only targeting one player.
Yep.
And this card on its own, you don't know what the top card of their library is until you've already chosen that player, until you actually get to look with it. So without it giving you access to that prior knowledge, you can totally whiff. And either, well, you can whiff. So it says you may look at the top card of their library. You may play the top card of their library. What if you happen to see a counterspell?
I won't play it.
All right, there you go. So you got no additional value.
What if I see a land, David, and I want to fuck them on land and I take it?
Then go for it. But realistically speaking, you probably dropped this on turn 6 or as soon as you got 6 mana, so you already made your land drop for the turn.
Yeah. But what if Hunter didn't? And like the last 4 turns he didn't, and I take the mana he needed.
I think that you're looking at this as like way too much upside. I think that this
It is
requires
way-
I think that this requires a massive amount of setup so that you can actually like realistically know which opponent to target. My other thought here too being is that this is not a commander that's going to be allowed to sit and play for very long because it's going to target somebody and it's going to piss that player off and they're going to go to kill it as soon as they possibly can, even if this thing doesn't target them again.
Okay, well, please tell me why that's different than Send Trample. It's the same fucking hate you get for that card.
No,
And
because
that card's tier 1.
That one's getting rid of your hand, so it's getting access to potentially multiple resources. It gives you more options, whereas this one doesn't. Also, like I don't know, I just view it like you're not gonna really be able to benefit too heavily off of this, just because I don't know, there's so like little information that this thing pulls, and I feel like the salt to power ratio on this card is super heavily tilted. I don't think that this is a very powerful card.
I told you in the beginning that I didn't give a shit what you said after that. Card's an A+.
David, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give this a D. It's not
you're
quite F because like it still can do things, but like this is not a commander that I would expect to stay on the battlefield for very long. I think it's gonna have a huge target on its head, and whenever it does stick around, it's not doing much.
I have an idea. I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna beat you.
Go for it. I would love to see it. You can prove me wrong.
All right.
And for anybody who is watching this video who would like to go off and make a comment as to why it is that this card is actually amazing and something that I missed about it, please make sure that you do so. Enlighten me.
The average of this card is a B.
Yep.
That hurts my heart.
Because I also gave it a B.
I turned on her, dude. He was at it as a D.
To see this in Volo at the same average, just like, oh, that hurts me.
You turned me the moment I forgot that after you play that top card, you could do it again.
You didn't forget it. I enlightened you. Same way I'm gonna enlighten David. It's okay, David. Hey, we're all friends here. I'm the enlightening daddy. Wait, no. Fuck. I'm enlightening my children.
You know what? I actually did misread this card. So it says at the beginning of your upkeep. So you have to play this. It has to live. It does absolutely nothing the turn that you play it, and then it can do something.
Bingo.
So it's worse than I thought.
You're running blue, so you can counter anything that tries to get rid of it.
Damn it. I didn't see that it was that either. All right.
It does.
All right.
Literally nothing that turn it's in play.
And triplets is the same thing, by the way, at the beginning of your upkeep.
Send triplets, I feel like, is easier to get into play. I know that it has white in there as well. It has extra toys, but there are ways that you can be able to like see all of your opponent's hands and get access to all potentially like however many cards they happen to have in their hands. This, you're literally churning through one at a time.
I understand that.
All right.
That's why I give it a B.
I get it. We can't keep comparing to a card that is infinitely better. I get it. I'm still gonna give it an A, dude, because I'm a dick.
All right. Average for this card. Hurts my heart. It's a B. So thank you so much for sticking around with us, listening to us rant and ramble about all of these legendary creatures. Hope you guys had fun for this. Please make sure that you like and subscribe these videos and follow our channel just to make sure that you stay up to date on any new content. I know that there's Magic content. There's Magic product being printed at like a cyclic rate. So we'll have something out here very, very soon. Thank you so much. This is David.
And Hunter.
And Shane, apparently.
And we're signing out. Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.